Hi everyone, I'm Sandy. Welcome back to my channel, Quilting with Sandy. This is part 2 to our panel scrappy quilt put together. In the first video I showed you how I did some things, but I didn't actually sew them and iron them and cut them. So I'm going to just show you really quickly how to make the star block in the center. We'll go through the steps of making the star block in the center, how I made my strip sets, and then I'll show you where I am in the process. I kind of figured out what I'm going to do for the center patch. Remember I was talking about that big center? I think I'm just going to fill it in with all kinds of color. I already put the piece border on that and some white around it, so we'll see that in a few minutes. But let's do this little star first, step by step, real quick. Alright, so first you need a 4 patch in the center. Here's the one I showed you during the demonstration, and I showed you the little thing. It's 2 strips sewn together, so 4, 2 here, 2 here. Then you, I actually have some. So what I did was, so it's 2 strips together, 1/4 of an inch, which I'm going to do for the strip sets after this. 2 that way, and 2 more. Press them in opposite directions. Line them up nice and straight here. Nest your seams and mush them together. Ooh. And then stitch 1/4 of an inch, which I did on this one. Then, before you iron it, press it, open it. Lay it flat on your cutting board, get your handy dandy little ruler, cut it at whatever your strips were. Mine were 2 inches, so I'm going to cut this at 2 inches. Oops. Oops. A little wobbly. Then to open it, I was talking to you about this last time. So you want your seams to go in a rotating fashion, swirling the center. So this one goes up over here, this one goes down, so this one's going to go to my left, and the bottom one's going to go to my right. And when you come in the center, you push them away, you get that little swirling 4 patch in the middle. Not my trick. Learned this from Eleanor Burns. Queen Eleanor Burns. She's awesome. So anyway, then I give it a quick press, kind of rolling around. Try to get it as square as possible. Don't fuss too much about it. Next we need the flying geese units. Let's press that one while I'm at it. I might end up using it somewhere. So when I iron, I usually iron from the front, and then I double check the back, make sure everything's going the way I want, just so it looks nice and flat. Flying geese units. You need a white strip, 2 inches, and a color strip, and I think I'm going to use this purple. I did iron these, you can't really tell. Then you put them right sides together, just like that. You can sew whatever color you like on top, it doesn't matter. Line them up as nice as you can. I have a 1/4 inch foot on my machine, and I have it set up so it's really close to 1/4 of an inch. It's a little slight because when you iron over, you seem to lose a little bit of your fabric. So I think my stitches need to be just a thread closer to short of 1/4 inch to work right. So what I'm going to do is sew down both sides of this and make a tube. So that's 1/4 inch down one side, and now I'm going to come all the way down the other side. Put my little leader ender here, whatever you want to call it. And then you don't have to press it here, but it kind of lets everything lay down flat. Sometimes the stitches bunch up a little bit. Then to cut, let's do it this way, to cut your 2 inch half square triangle. Take the 2 inch on the ruler, this is the strip tube ruler, line it up on your stitches, not on the bottom, your 2 inches goes on your stitches, and then you go up one side, I have trouble cutting sitting down, and down the other. Oh, see? Not so good. Yeah, that was way more challenging than it normally is. Now, I did press these opposite, so the one I'm going to sew it to is going to the white, so I'm going to press this to the dark. So what I'm going to do is lay it down flat on my mat with the dark up, give it a little press, and then I'm just going to roll this back with my fingers. I made my pressing mat a little squishy, so I'm actually going to finger press it a little bit on my table, and then iron straight across. And then I take my little scissors and cut those little dog ears off. I don't know why they call them dog ears, but that's what they call them. Then I'm going to lay these out here. This is what my flying geese unit looks like. The 2 whites in the center and the 2 colors on the outside. Here, maybe you can see it better here. Like that. Then I'm just going to fold these over, smush these seams together nice and tight, match up my ends, and sew my 1/4 inch seam across there. Okay, now I did not press these open until I connected them to my 4 patch, because I wanted the seams to nest. So I'm going to put this one here. I have a couple more made so you can all see, and we'll lay it out so we see what it looks like. I got a lot of blue and green in this one, but that's okay. See, so now I'm going to move this one because I got a lot of blue here. So that's going to be our star points, just like that. Okay, so now I know how I want to lay that out. I need 4 2-inch, boy, they're not going to lay down for me at all, 4 2-inch squares. So these are white on white, so sometimes I have a hard time seeing them with my old eyes here. So I'm going to lay them just like that. Then I'm going to sew this in 3 rows. So the first row will have a flying geese unit and 2 white squares. So I'm going to sew those up real quick. And I'm not going to take this off my board, off my sewing machine. I'm going to strip these? I don't know what you call it. Chainsaw. Okay, now I got all my pieces sewn in row. And now I think I'm going to press it a little bit. I'm going to press this part anyway. Lay it nice and flat. Set those seams so they lay down nice and flat. And of course these 2 weren't ironed before, so that helps that. And then I iron these to the 4 patch because of these pointy squares. So you put your 4 patch on top, roll it back, give it a little finger press. So there's my center row. These are my top and bottom. I'm not going to press them right now. And remember, I wanted the blue here. So I'm going to match this up. And this is why I didn't press it, because I want these seams to go in opposite directions. So that'll go to the white, The center is going to go up to match that one, and then the bottom one is going to go like that. So I'm going to start by matching up my corner with the corners. I'm going to take a couple stitches just to hold it in there. Then I'm going to push those two seams together, hold it down nice and tight. Same thing to the next seam. Push it in there nice and tight. I like to take a stitch into there at least before I go fixing the next one or lining the next one. And then just kind of match it up. And this I did actually press this way too, so I'm going to finger press it really quick just so it lays flat. I press these to the inside. I'll press it with the iron after. Same thing here. I'm going to lay my star point there to make sure I get them the right way. Put that there. And I'm going to push these seams the way they need to go as I stitch down this side. I'll start by matching up my corner. Get it under my foot. Take some stitches. The seam wants to go up. Smush it into the next one. This seam is also going to go up. Smush it into there. And the seam goes down. Now we're going to set these seams. And I wanted to press these towards the 4-patch, so I'm going to put the 4-patch on top and roll this over and push it down with my finger. And this seam wasn't ironed before, so I'm going to make sure that's nice and straight when I go in there with the iron. Not too bad. Okay. Again, I'm going to put the 4-patch on top, roll it back, straighten things out a little, give it a little finger scratch, kind of hold it square-ish as best I can. This is a squishy board. I should have made it so squishy. A little, I never made one before. One, I didn't have that heat resistant stuff, so it's just batting in there. And I thought I needed a couple layers because I figured it would go too flat. I don't think I needed 2 layers. So there's my scrappy star. Scrappy sawtooth star. So then all I did was put 1-inch strips. I measured my block and I put 2 on the sides. I measured my block, it was 6.5 inches. I cut 2 6.5-inch strips, and then I measured this way, and I can't remember what it was, 8.5. Cut those, and then I put my scrappy round, and then my white. So it comes out like this. So there's my star, my 4 strips of white, my color strips, 2 on each side, which you can do top and bottom to change up your color a little bit too. That I did that a couple times. And then across here, these were 6 2-inch strips, and these were 8 2-inch strips. Then I put the 2 inches all the way around the outside again. So I am going to show you how to make the strip sets real quick. So my top row is about 60 inches by 15 inches. The bottom row is 60 inches by 15 inches. So I need this panel to be 6 inches wide, and I wanted it about 30 inches deep because that would give me approximately 60 inches. So this is only 24, I need 6 inches yet. I think I'm just gonna make a whole bunch of strip sets and make a whole bunch of 2-inch cubes and fill it all in with color cubes. I think that'll look good. That's my final decision, maybe. So let me show you how I make my strip sets. What did I say this was? 12, so that's 13, 14, 15, 16 to go top and bottom. So let's do some sets of 8. So you just sew 2 together. I would leave them on there, and I would sew 2 more and 2 more and 2 more. Then I take them off, I give them a little finger press. I'll iron it later because I probably want to change the way they're going. Then I'm going to take another one, put it on here. So now my 2s become 4s, if that makes sense now. So then I'll take this 2 and put it on this 2, that's another 4. Then I'll take those 2 4s and put them together, that'll be 8. So I'll make 2 8s, put them together, they're going to be 16. I have some strip sets, little teeny pieces left. Not little teeny pieces. I mean, I have some strip sets that aren't long enough. So I'm going to count those out, add a few to each end. I'm going to make a whole bunch of strips, and I'll meet you back here when I'm done. Hang tight. Hi everybody, I'm back. I ended up sewing strip sets of 8 because when you iron these strip sets, they kind of want to go a little wonky, and I thought 16 would really make it difficult. So I ended up sewing 8 strip sets of 8, and then I cut them down to 2 inches. Let me show you how I cut that one, the last strip here. First I lay it this way, put my ruler on there, match a line up along here with one of the seams. Try to make sure that this is similar. I kind of check a few of them, make sure they're at least kind of running true. Trim it off, which I had already trimmed that one. Flip it over. Then I put my 2-inch line on my freshly cut line. I'm going to stand up here. Same thing, I kind of eyeball these a little bit. They don't have to be super perfect, but they have to be pretty close because then you end up with a wonky. They don't look like squares after a while. So I did that with all of my strip sets, and I ended up with these cute little patchy things. And what I'm going to do is sew 2 different ones together. And what I ended up doing was just ironing to one side. And when I put these together, I'm just going to flip them. So see, I don't like that. I need something that'll work it. Okay. Let's see if this will work. That'll work. I'm just going to flip them over. So one, the seams are going down, the other, the seams are going up. And then I'm going to take 2 together, mash those sides up. And I think when I put them on my machine, not that, it might not matter. I'm going to try to put all the seams that go up on the top and all the seams that go on the down on the bottom because I like the way they smush together. And I'm thinking if I do that, when I make these into 8 patches, so I'm going to sew 2 together. Then I'll sew 2 2s together and make 4, and then I'll sew 2 4s together and make 8. I'm thinking when I get to those bigger parts, the seams will still all match up. So I'm going to make 4 blocks of 8, sew them together like a 4 patch, and hopefully, if I did my calculations right, it will measure from top to bottom on that center panel. And then we'll see how we need to do, what else we need to do to make it big enough. Not thinking too far ahead. I may run out of fabric, but we'll get there. We'll figure it out. So I've just been a sewing little fool here. I thought I needed 4 8 patches of 8, which is 64 squares. And then I started counting, and I figured I'm not going to have enough. I'm not going to have enough fabric to do that. So I looked at it again, and I laid it out on the table, and I only needed 10 wide by 16 down. So I had already made my sets of 8. So I did my 8 and my 8, and then I added 2 strips of 16. So this is what I have. 2 8 by 8s, which is 64. It's a 64 block. Crazy, right? So I have 2 of those. Ta-ta! And then I have a 16 strip of 2 that I'm going to sew on the edge. Then when I calculated putting all my rows together, I'm still going to be a little bit shorter than I am wide. So I'm just going to add some 2-inch strips to the top and bottom of everything. It'll add a little white, get your eye to rest. Hopefully I like it. But I don't really have enough of the squares of the little blocks, unless I cut more, but since they were kind of scraps, there's not a ton of red. I think I have like 2 strips, and they're not really enough to do anything already made. And I'm kind of tired of some of these little blocks. So, over that. So, I'm not sure if you can see or not, but I'm just nesting up my seams. I have them pressed in the opposite direction. I'm just going along there nice and slow, matching each one up as I go. Finishing that. Let me get my little scrapper here. I don't know why I use such a small scrap. It's so hard to get off. Now, let's showcase where this could go. These are going up, so I want them going down. Can this work here? Doesn't look too bad. Stitch it right on there. See what happens. When I get to the center, I'll just push whatever I have to, whatever way to make it work. So again, matching all these little teeny seams up. I know it sounds like a pain. It kind of is a pain. But it's kind of the fun of it, too, in a way. I kind of like doing it. I like everything to nest. Just seems to look nicer. Believe me, I did have to tear some stuff out, put it back together. Then I put a new bobbin in, and I don't know, I didn't have it in there right. So I had to re-sew like 2 or 3 things before I noticed it. It's like when you run out. Pretty annoying. I didn't even have to force that middle. It was kind of going that way. Okay, now I'm going to take 4 of these and sew them together. I'm going to just try to do different prints next to each other so it looks like I meant it this way. Instead of trying to put with enough length. Boy, that white on white can really get you, can't it? So even doing this, I think I'm only going to be a square quilt. It's not going to be rectangular, but I'm okay with that. It's going to end up to be like 60 by 60. Which I probably said that 10 times already. But that's 5 foot by 5 foot. I think that's okay. Oh boy, I only have like 3 different prints here. I even pulled more out of the drawer because I needed a long piece. How many of that? That's, sometimes I get crazy and I just keep sewing. And so there's 2, 4, 5, 6. So I need, do I have enough? 8 and 8. I need 4, 8, 16 of these. I think I cut. Really, that's only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 11, 12. I have enough. I thought I counted the ones. My fibber. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I have an extra. Haha. Okay. So I'm just going to press this down. Move that a little closer. Move this other side out of the way. Do you guys so messy like me? Yeah, there's a trash can there, but I'm probably missing it anyway. Yes, sir. Okay. I'm just going to push these over. Oh, so when I was doing these big squares, I did, after I got them pressed out, I starched them. I don't use starch all the time, but they were a little bit hard to manage because of their size and how many of them. So I pressed them all and then laid them on the board and kind of did a little bit of this shifty. See, I got a couple colors that match, but I'm sure they did in the old days too. I was just thinking when I was ironing this, this would have been really cute if I took a couple squares like from my granddaughter's quilt I made her when she was born of the fabric. It's a little purple owl. And I could have put that in there and they would have had fun looking for those special little things. So maybe another time. I never think of that stuff till I'm halfway through. I don't know. I need someone to remind me. Didn't you want to do this? Didn't you want to do that? Okay. So now I'm going to take this big, huge picture panel. I'm going to sew it on here on this white strip. So what I did here was match up the first block, match up the first seam, and then I want to sew a few ahead here. Then I'm going to come down here, grab this end, and match these up. Give it a little tug. Well, it's pretty close. Just to make sure I have enough length at the end. And then I'm going to hold all these seams down, pull them out to that white, and 1/4 inch all the way down. Until I get to like 4 or 5 to the bottom, and then I'll rearrange that seam. Make sure I'm on the line again. You know, while I'm doing this, I'll sew that other block on too. So this is what I'm going to do here. I don't know if you could see. Can you see this seam? I want it to go that way. So I'm going to snip it. Make it go that way. Just like that. And maybe that's not super proper. But hey, it's my quilt, it's my way. I want this put together. No one's gonna know. So I have one more block to sew on this one. So I'll do that now. Just matching up my next one, get the nest. Okay, I'm going to sew the white on the top and the bottom of the top and the bottom row, and I'll meet you back here in a few minutes. Alright, I got the white sashing, I guess we'll call it, on the top and bottom of both the top and bottom rows. And now I'm going to take, this is my top row, and I'm going to take the middle row. Make sure I have my faces going in the right direction. And I'm going to sew this onto here. And then we'll sew the bottom on. So it's just going to be 3 big rows. All done. Yeah, they're not going to match. I'm going to have to do something there. I might just butt them. We'll see. I'm sure I'll change my mind by the time I get there. Get your goo here. Put that in there. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, I thought I just had a panic attack. I thought I had the animals upside down. There we go. Pretty cute. Pretty done. Alright guys, I'm going to put the bottom on, and then I'm going to stay stitch around the outside, and I'll meet you right back here in 2 seconds. Alright everyone, I finished sewing the 3 rows together, and I went around the tiny patchwork and stay stitched. I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, I don't even have it the right way up. You're not going to be able to see it all, I don't think, until we get it done. And I'll take a picture of it. It came out pretty cute, I think. So along this edge that's all patchwork, I was afraid would fray, start coming apart. So I just went on there, on the edge, like maybe 1/8 of an inch with a big stitch, kind of like a basting stitch, and went all the way down those sides. But I'm pretty happy. It was lots of fun. It really was a lot of fun. And I got to use up my panel. I'm going to measure it because I'm still not convinced it's long enough, but I think it'll be okay. Next week, I'll have decided if I'm going to put a border on or not, I promise. And I will pick out a back and probably have it made before, if I have to make one, I'll have it made before I check in with you. I want to show you how I'm going to put it on the rack. I'm going to show you how I quilt it. I don't like quilting with my domestic, and I have never sent any projects to a long arm quilter, so it's not my thing. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm actually thinking about doing it, but to me, quilting is, and making the quilt is about me doing it. It's about the homemade part of it. And if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. And I am not a pro, but it's lots of fun. And I really do enjoy it, and I love the results. Look how cute. I am still in love with that star. Super cute. So next week, we'll have a back. I'll have decided about buying borders, I promise. I'm going to put it on the rack, get it quilted up. I'll show you parts of that so you can see what I do. It's kind of just an all-over thing, nothing really fancy. And then we'll put some binding on. Oh yeah, I gotta decide what color binding to do. I don't know, because I don't have enough of anything that I used in here, I don't think. Oh, I could do the navy. That'd be boring. I don't know. Well, I'll think about it, and I hope to see you next week. Subscribe to my page, click like. If you click the bell, you get notified when I post a new video, and there's going to be a new one next week. See y'all. Bye.